Welcome back to math. Today, place value basics. Module 1, lesson 1B. This is our place value chart. If you notice up on top, here's our decimal. So everything to the left, and I want you to actually move your left arm and say everything to the left are whole numbers. Everything to the left are whole numbers. And to the right, I want you to move your right arm now and say everything to the right of the decimal.
Everything to the right of the decimal
are pieces. That means that the whole numbers, wouldn't whole numbers go over on this side of the decimal? No, it wouldn't. Now, I want you to think of this first space as tenths. Tenths just means that it's been cut up into 10 pieces. That's why I have written down here 10 pieces. I just abbreviated pieces. And the next spot, if there's a number here, it means it was cut up into 100 pieces. And this is called hundredths. So we have tenths, and then we have hundredths. Now, of course, the third space over is thousandths, but we're not going to get into that. Let's just try to keep it simple to understand the concept. So I'm just going to talk about tenths today, okay? Tenths mean 10 pieces, okay? And let's say I'm going to move this up. What do I have? I drew something here. What is this?
A Volkswagen Beetle.
Okay, a beetle. I like it. Thank you that my drawing was good enough for you to see that. How many, what do we have here? We have a car. How many do we have?
One hole.
One. We would say one hole, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we could go like that. We could write as a decimal, how? We would say 1.0. Remember up here? So up here we could put 1. There's our decimal points. How many pieces do we have? Is the car in any pieces? No. So we have 0 in the pieces area. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we have one whole car. So if you notice, that 1 is the same as that 1 up in the ones place. And then we have 1.0, if you notice, 1.0. It's 0 pieces. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
All right. Now, let's change this slightly. And I'm going to do some magic here. You know me. I like doing things. What if I move this? I cut my car into, what is that? A half. So I've got a half up here, right? And then what do I have here? I've got another half. And if you notice, if I put them together, I would have one hole. I had one hole before. Now I have a half. But here's my question. How would I show a half of a car up in my place value chart with a decimal? Well, that's what we're going to figure out. We're going to figure out how we write a half as a decimal. Okay? Here we go. What do we have here? We have one hole, right? So I could shade this in, and that gives us our one hole, right? How do we write this as a decimal? How do we write it as a decimal? 1.0. We notice that up above, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I said that to the right, the first place on the right is how many places? Is how many things? I'm sorry. The first place on the right is cut up into how many pieces? 10. So what I did, I cut this up into 10, and I also cut this up into 10. So let's say that this is the same as this. Now when I cut my car, I cut it into halves. And what do you think these are? Halves. Excellent. So I can put a half here and a half here, right?
Yes.
And I could, I'll color those in because they're shaded in, right?
Yes.
Now how much of this would I shade in for half? How much would I shade in for half? Well, I would probably go down here, right? Does this look like half to you?
Yes.
It does to me too. How many pieces do we have?
5.
Well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 pieces, is that correct?
Yes.
So if we had do we have a hole right here? Is this a whole thing? No. So we have to put a 0 in front of the decimal because it's showing I have no whole ones, right?
Yes.
But how many do I have? I have 5, right?
Yes.
So a half equals 0.5. Is that correct?
Yes.
Nice. Now what would I have to shade in here to have half?
5.
I have to shade in 5 of them, right?
Yes.
So I would go all the way over to, am I too far? 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope, that's it. Do I have half of it shaded in?
Yes.
Yes. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right?
Yes.
So I have half of it shaded in. This is the same as this, right?
Yes.
Good. And this is the same as this, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what if I took my shading off? Ooh, I'm going to get a little tricky on you if you don't mind. You know me. How many have I shaded in now?
2.
2. How many now? 3. 4.
5.
How much do I have shaded in?
5.
I have half of them. But Mr. McGuire, they don't look like they're all together. Well, they're not, but they still make a half, don't they?
Yes.
Nice move. I'm glad to see you weren't tricked by that. Good job. Okay, so does everyone understand that our round circle is the same as this?
Yes.
Okay, can I go back to round circles for a minute?
Yes.
Because everybody kind of understands pizza, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. So, here again, let's just, I'm going to color this in, all right? How much do I have? 1 whole. How would I show that as a decimal? 1.0. It means I have 0 in the pieces part, right?
Yes.
Nice job. Okay, so let's move up to this. I'm going to have you do this for homework, so I'll do this one for you first. How many of these 10 pieces do I have?
1.
I have 1. So I can call this 1 over 10, right? Or as a decimal, how would I write that? 0.1. Nice job. We have 10 pieces total, right? The pizza's been cut up into 10 pieces, and we only have 1 left. Because Mr. McGuire came and ate the rest of your pizza without your knowledge. Yeah, I'm that way, aren't I? Okay, what if I do this? I do this one, and I do this one. Now what do I have? 2 over 10, which would also be what in a decimal?
0.2.
Why do we have a 0 here again? Because there's no whole ones, and it's 0.2. Good job. 2/10, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now I can scoot up. And what if I do this one, and this one here?
3.
Okay, I have How would I write that as a decimal? 0.3. I switched it on you, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm always a little... Okay, and what is our fraction? 3 over 10, right?
Yes.
Okay, good job. And what if I did 1, 2, 3? Okay, how many would I have now?
4.
How do you want to write it?
0.4.
0.4, which would equal
4
over 10, right? Okay, and this would be, ooh, somebody said it. Let's write it out as a decimal first. 0.5. 5 is half of 10. So we have 5 tenths. Do you see that 5 is half of 10?
Yes.
Which would mean that this equals 1/2. And you guys already said that. You go, hey, that's a half of a pizza. I'm glad you guys get that. Okay, let's do a couple more. Okay, how about that? What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 0.6. It would also equal 6 over 10. Right?
Yes.
Good job. Do you guys get how this works?
Yes.
You could do the rest all the way to 9, couldn't you?
Yes.
I'm going to do the next one. Now check this out. I'm going to do this one just like this. We already did it once. What's this called? If we had to write this as a fraction, how would we write it as a fraction?
10 over 10.
10 over 10 is correct. And it equals 1 whole, right?
Yes.
But how would we write it as a decimal?
1.0.
1.0. So all of these mean the same thing, don't they?
Yes.
Good job, you guys. Now, what's this? Ooh. How many do I have shaded in? I have 10 plus 2, right? So I've got 12 of them. Out of how many is it cut up into?
10.
Ooh, 10. Wow. This number is bigger than the bottom number, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh. That means I have 1 whole, right?
Yes.
How do I write it out? I write a big 1, and look at that. 2 tenths, right? And if I wrote it out as a decimal, I would write it as 1.2. Good job, you guys. Does this make more sense on place value?
Yes.
Okay, so just to go over it one quick time, let's use our left arm now. All the numbers on the left of the decimal are whole numbers. All the things on the right of the decimal are pieces. And how many pieces are in this column? 10. How many pieces are in this column? 100. Why 100? Because it's 2 digits, right?
Yes.
And then this one's 1,000. Okay, very good. You know me, I love math.